Hi, I'd like to start by saying that I think that I learned a lot from this class, and especially I think that I learned how to be more confident in speaking, and especially also to learn how to organize my ideas in a structured way and apply different speaking processes to my speech, um, again in a nice organized way. And then for my future interactions, I think that I will use a lot of active listening, which I think helps when speaking with somebody and just having a normal conversation. Then it'll help them to be able to open up more, as well as giving off the actual self expression, which I think is important in just showing in having a genuine conversation and showing your genuine self in a conversation and in speeches as well. I believe that my strongest presentation was my persuasive speech, which is the most recent speech and the last one. I think that I learned from maybe mistakes that I made from the first two speeches, and the constructive criticism as well was really helpful, as well as watching other people's speeches to be able to get tips from their speeches and how I wanted to improve in my speech. I think that my call to action was most strong in the persuasive speech, and using persuasive continuum in order to use more visual aids in order to help my speech along and to make it more credible. I believe that my visual aid was more interactive that in the persuasive speech, which I think is good and helpful. And as for one of the classmates that I watched her three speeches, I think that her persuasive speech was also her strongest speech, which I think might be true for everyone as we learned along the way. But for hers, I think that she had a lot of visual aids that were really strong and important to be able to understand along with her as she's explaining things and seeing her in the visual atmosphere as well. She was had a canvas and was using that as she was talking about art being important in the world. So I think that was really strong for her. And I also think that her public speaking was really strong as well, and she had a strong call to action and a very direct speech as well. And then for my interview speech, I think that the organizational pattern that I used was the topic order, which I think that I kind of carried through onto my other speeches as well. I think that it made it easier to organize the speech in a way that you can remember, specific points that you can use and the sub points to go along with each of those. I think that was easiest for me and most helpful in order to explain my point in the best way. And then for my informative speech, I think that I used a lot of explaining. So I think that it was better for me to use the explaining method rather than demonstrating, because my topic was about whether college is beneficial or not, and the pros and cons. And so I think that explaining and talking about how this topic came about, and how the different problems and reasoning all work together, I think was really helpful for that topic alone. I think demonstrating could be better for different topics, but for my topic, explaining was a good method of informing for me. And then for my persuasive speech, I used the proposition of value, trying to explain the value of what I was talking about, which was social media and the negative effects that come along with social media and online sources as well. So I think that was helpful in order to show the value of what I was talking about, because not everybody uses social media, but we might not always think about the risk factors or the negative effects that come along with it. And then I also used the indirect approach, which was helpful because I think because everybody uses social media, it's very easy to be defensive and to not really want to hear those kind of things. So I think that the indirect approach was helpful to get my point across without it being aggressive, because I also use these things, and for the age group in my audience, I think that was important. I think that over the course itself and through the 3 speeches, I think that my public speaking has improved. I think most in confidence and self-esteem, and just being confident in my speaking skills and being more open to speaking in general, really. And I think also using the high and low contexts is another thing that I think was important to improve in my public speaking and start using more. Especially low language, I think, is important to be able to describe feelings, thoughts, and all of that in your speech in a direct way, because I think that offers more credibility and is important. I also think that using I versus you language for me has improved a lot. I think that using more I language offers also somewhat more credibility, but also more of a relationship between me and the audience, and understanding where I relate to different topics that I'm talking about as well. And I think that in my feedback, I think that the instructor said that my eye contact and like the engaging with the audience were strong, but I think that improvement areas were citing sources, verbally citing the sources, and also strengthening my call to action, and really tying that in to the speeches, I think is important to offer credibility, especially with the sources, which I think that I improved in my 3rd speech, which is why I also think that it was my strongest, because I provided the citations verbally. I think that I could have done more after watching different people's speeches. I think that I could have done stronger visual aids. I think that those are really important and help with having the audience engage with what you're talking about, and then also understanding further. I think that visual aids are really important. For the future, I want to go into accounting, and that's on the more professional side. I want to go into accounting. Before that, I want to finish it with my bachelor's degree, and then I'm not sure exactly where, but I want to go into accounting in some field. It's really broad, but yeah. And for me personally, I did like this class personally to be able to generate more confidence in speaking in a group of people. And I think that all of these tools are helpful both in professional and personal environments, because in professional environments you never know, especially like for me, I'm not sure exactly what field I'll go into. I know like in a business setting there might be things that you have to present and just generate ideas in a professional environment. It's always important to be able to feel confident in speaking about a topic that you want to be able to improve in the company, and then also for yourself, you don't want to be scared to be around a group of people, you know, that you're meeting for the first time in different like personal situations. So I think that all of the tools are really helpful in both aspects, and I think that I have improved, and I think that the class has helped me a lot in order to understand all the different concepts and be able to bring them into public speaking. Yeah. Thank you.